Oh yeah, one of my favorite topics in the whole world, top water frogs. We're talking a whole box of frogs. Now there's frogs and there's poppin' frog, but we're gonna go through the colors and how to select colors for the frogs. Now, like I said, there's poppin' frogs, there's regular frogs. I'll explain the difference here in a second, but we're talking about grabbing this cash and icon frog rod. That's what I use anytime I'm target fishing with a frog. And then of course the braid that I'm using is the Sunline X Plasma 50. I use that 50 about 98% of the time when I'm fishing a frog. I've fished a lot of different braids. That is hands down my favorite one. It doesn't absorb water, and that's a big difference, a big deal. Helps keep your line floating, helps keep your frog working right, and it's super strong. But so as we're talking about colors, you can see up here in the top, I've got a whole section of the straight black. Now the straight black is probably my favorite. This one's he's a little mauled up, a little beat up, but that's the number one color for me. And the reason I like black probably over most any other color as like, just only one to pick, is because that black, I feel like when the fish look up at it, they can silhouette it very well. They can as they're looking up at that bait, they can see the outline very well, but it's black, so it almost looks like a shadow to them. And I think they have a curiosity factor, is that thing's bouncing around on the surface. They see that and they think there's something up there, I'm just going to go ahead and eat it. There's something struggling on the surface. And then so the big other number one, number two color, if you will, now when we're talking about like post spawn, shad spawn type time periods, we're going to go shad colors. We're going to go looking like just regular. I think this is the spec Poppin Frog. I really like that one. If you got a little bit of stain in the water, it's hard to beat just the albino, the regular white. So those are you got to have those white colors. Probably my favorite is going to be the clear Chartreuse. It's modeled after a crankbait color, and that clear Chartreuse probably my favorite shad looking color, especially when the water's pretty clear. I have these tails cut a little bit shorter. I don't know what I was doing with that, but I fish them a little bit longer, like yay. Sometimes I wanted that, but if it's real calm, and this is my big difference between the two frogs. If it's real calm out, I like the regular frog. I think it just, it's a little more subtle, and I think it looks more natural to them. Now the Poppin Frog is what I'm going to go when I'm trying to draw fish from a further distance, or there's a little ripple on the water and I really want that frog to stand out and really want it to draw attention. I actually bloop it more. But those are my number one and number two. Water's a little bit clearer, I might go with like a green pumpkin or this diamondback color. I think this diamondback color is just ultra cool, super cool. I think Dean Rojas's his younger son, he designed that color for Spro. Pretty cool. But then there's the regular green pumpkin. I had these, I took the legs off, modified it in an attempt to try to get some frog bites in one of our tournaments. But that's more along the lines of what I usually have, is the legs just trimmed up a little bit. And you can see it's got some translucence to it. So that is another good option when the water's a little bit clearer. If it's around a brim bed bite. Now this happens in the South, happens even in Florida and places like that. But if we're talking about a brim bed bite where there's a touch of color on the water, and I feel like there's a lot of brim spawning, I'm seeing brim spawning beds in the backs of pockets, and there's some shallow cover, I'm gonna go to a brim color, like this reddier color. Love that color. This is another a bluegill color that was exclusive for Gander, but then when Gander did their little bankruptcy situation, now it's available to everybody. And I really like that one too. Those are probably my number one and number two brim looking colors, but I would be remiss without, where's my other buddy? Oh, here, yeah, this is it. That is another one of my favorite brim colors. It's a little more subtle. I pulled the legs off of that one in an attempt to catch some more fish. But then I've also caught a bunch on my good buddy Natural Red. That's one of the original frog colors, like from way back, one of the originals. And I've caught a pile of fish. I put this almost in the black category because it's darker, but it's got just a little hint of color on it, and it's got that red tint to it. I've caught a ton of fish on that. And if you're looking for a little bit bigger disturbance, there's the new Poppin Frog 70. That, you know, comes in all the good colors in my opinion, but you got to have your shad, you got to have your black. Those are the top two. And then the Outback, one of my favorite colors. It's when you get just a touch of a color on the water and you're looking in that brim category again, you got that. And the one big difference is it's got the green on the head, and as you're fishing it, you can see that little bit of green on the head better than you can, you know, the straight black. And it's got that, I like that little hint of orange on the belly as well. I've caught a pile of fish on that color as well, but I keep, you know, you can see I keep it relatively simple, mainly black shad colors, green pumpkin on occasion on some clear water situations. And then I got my brim colors. Here's more of the Outback color, more of the brim colors. But that's it. I keep it relatively simple. There's a million different frog colors, but my darks, my shads, and my brim colors, those are kind of the three main categories that I use for fishing frogs. Anybody has any other additional information or any other colors that are kind of their pet colors, drop them down there in the comments. I'll be curious to hear what you guys have to say. But, you know, be sure to be sure to fish it on braid. No matter what you do, fish it on braid. Make sure you have a rod that has enough tip to it that you can cast it accurately and has enough backbone to when you absolutely lay the wood as hard as you can with that frog. And that's part of fishing a frog. You just, when he bites it, you reel down and you just absolutely crack him. That is, the frog is basically the only bait that I absolutely crack them on the hook set. That Gamakatsu, believe me, it'll hold up. You don't have to worry about it, and you want to get it buried in the roof of that mouth, and those fish aren't coming off. So those are my frog color kind of basics, and if you have any other ones, like I said, drop it down there. I appreciate you guys watching.